Okay, example 2, part 2. So we're going to graph and state the domain, range, intercepts, and piecewise functions. So to graph this, we're going to remove it from the brackets, and we're going to need to complete the square since this is not in our standard or vertex form just yet. So we're going to have to group the first two terms. Then we're going to factor out the -1, which changes the sign, and now I'm going to put a blank there. Remember to fill in the blank, it's b over 2 squared. So -2 over 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So we're going to add 1 here, which means I have to subtract 1 here and multiply it by the -1 from out front. So negative sign or -1, when you factor that, you get the square of the binomial x minus 1 squared. 8, this becomes +1 plus 9. So we're going to graph this first. Again, pencil, because this is not in absolute values just yet. So my vertex is 1 and 9. It opens down. My width is just my regular counting, my regular width. So I'm going to go over 1, down 1. However far over you go, you square how far down, because it's x squared. Over 2, so now we're going to go down 4. Over 2, down 4. I need more of the graph. I need to see what happens below the x-axis. So I'm going to have to go over 3 from the vertex, down 9. So over 3, down 9. And again, I need something to work with. So just to be more accurate, I'm going to count. If I go over 4, down 16. So you're going to count. There's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So again, over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 16. So I'm going to draw this parabola, which we're used to drawing. And okay, now let's apply the absolute value brackets. So if I apply the absolute value to the graph, that means that everything above the x-axis stays the same. So I'm just going to darken this with pen and say this is my final answer for that part. So that's my original part, doesn't change. This needs to be reflected up. So -7, where x is 5, is now going to be +7. Same thing here, +7. Now, be careful with the shape. Sometimes people sort of angle them, inwards. This would be as if you were drawing a positive parabola and it's still that shape where it's slowly getting wider as it's approaching and has those arrows. Okay, then again, I'm going to erase this bottom part. I still kind of want to see my work there, so I'm going to not do that too much, but you can see that that's gone. Okay, domain is still XE reals. Range is still y, such that y is greater than or equal to 0, where YE reals. My X-intercepts, I'm choosing sort of nice X-intercepts. We can just see that. Again, we can solve for this variable if we needed to. Solve for the X-intercepts using the equation by plugging in 0, but we can see them, so we'll just write down our X-intercepts. My Y-intercept, you can see, but let's just make sure you would remember that if you needed to find that you would plug in the absolute value brackets and get 8. So you can see that it's 8. So we have that confirmed. Again, X-intercepts -2 and -4. Maybe it is, I have room here. Maybe I am going to show my work. If I didn't know, I would find the X-intercepts without the absolute value brackets in. So you'd let y equal 0. And then factor. If something didn't factor, you would use the quadratic formula. I'm going to factor out the -1. So we get x minus 4, x plus 2. So you can see how you got your x equals 4 and x equals -2 still. All right, let's look at the piecewise function. So y equals, you open up your brackets. You start with your original equation. Y equals -x squared plus 2x plus 8. I use what's in the question. I don't need to use this one, though it's still fine if you did. Okay, when does that occur? So if that was my negative parabola, I originally graphed this middle section. Again, I call it the bump in the middle. So it's between -2 and 4. So when the domain is between -2 and 4, so x is greater than or equal to -2, but less than or equal to 4. Again, the equal to signs are always with the x-intercepts. Then we're going to bring a negative sign through the bracket. So if I was to bring a negative sign, that's going to change all of the signs here. And so when does that occur? So if I had a positive parabola, that would mean that the arrowheads would go up. So that's when everything is less than -2. Or it'd be the right-hand side of the parabola, or of the wing, it would be greater than 4. So that's the piecewise function.